Her name was Peggy Scott. You won't find her in the history books. You won't see her face on monuments or her story in school lessons. But her suffering, her pain, her body became the foundation of something the whole world uses today. This is not just history. This is a truth that was hidden. This is the story of a young girl who was used, broken, and forgotten. Her name was Peggy Scott. Peggy was only 17 years old, just a girl, but she was not living like a girl. She was born into chains, into slavery. She never knew freedom. She never had a chance to play like other children, to dream like other girls, or to be seen as a person. To the world around her, she was not Peggy. She was not a daughter. She was not a child. She was property. Her childhood was filled with labor. Her hands carried heavy loads. Her back bent in the fields. Her ears carried the sound of the whip. She grew up under the eyes of masters who owned her body and her future. Every dream she might have had was buried in the soil of slavery. At 17, she gave birth. A child came from her body, but the birth was not gentle. It was not safe. The birth tore her apart. Her young body was broken and bleeding. She cried out for help, but what kind of help could a slave girl hope for? The birth left Peggy wounded. She could not stop bleeding. She was weak. Every step was pain. Every movement was agony. Her body was torn in ways she could not describe. What she needed was care, resting, healing. But Peggy did not live in the world of mercy. She lived in the world of slavery. And in that world, her pain was not seen as pain. It was seen as an opportunity. They did not take her to a doctor to help her. They took her to a doctor to use her. His name was Dr. A. Austin. Some call him the father of modern gynecology. But what father built his name on a broken body of a child? What man calls himself a healer while he ignores the cries of the one he cut open? Dr. Austin did not see Peggy as a girl. He did not see her as human. He saw her as an experiment, a tool, a body to practice on. She was not asked for consent. He was not told what he would do. He was not given a choice. He was given to him, a slave girl, offered like an object, handed like property. And so the experiment began. Peggy was laid on a table. Her body trembled. She was still bleeding from childbirth. Her voice was weak. But the doctor did not bring medicine. He did not bring comfort. He brought knives. He brought tools. He did not use anesthesia. He did not give her anything for the pain. Every cut was raw. Every stitches was fire. Every scream was ignored. She screamed until her voice broke. She trashed until her strength failed. And still he continued. When her body shook, they held her down. When she cried for mercy, no one answered. Her tears fell into the dirt. Her pain filled the room. But to Dr. Austin, the pain was not pain. It was data. It was knowledge. It was progress. The first surgery was not the last. It was only the beginning. Over and over, her body was opened. Over and over. She was stitched and cut 30 times and more. Again and again, day after day. Her body became a battlefield. Her womb, her flesh, her skin, all scarred, all torn. Peggy screamed every night. The pain was unbearable, but the doctor called her pain necessary. He told others that black women did not feel pain like white women. That lie gave him permission. That lie gave him power. And so he experimented, not once, not twice, but dozens of times. The world outside never knew her cries. In the field, the other enslaved women whispered. They saw her walk slowly, her steps weak, her body broken. They saw her vanish into the doctor's place and return even more wounded. They pitied her. They feared for her. But what could they do? They too were enslaved. Their voices carried no power. The masters saw only property. If she lived, he was a tool. If she died, he was a loss of money. That was all she was worth in their eyes. And so the surgeries continued. As Peggy suffered, the doctor rose in fame. His experiments became his discoveries. His writings became lessons for other doctors. The tools he tested on her body were used in hospitals. The techniques he practiced on her became the foundation of gynecology. He was praised. He was honored. He was called a genius. And Peggy, she was silent. She was erased. Her body was broken to build his success. Her suffering was the soil in which his glory grew. Think of her for a moment. A girl of 17 who gave birth too young. A girl who screamed through surgeries with no medicine. A girl who was cut open again and again until her body was scarred beyond recognition. She was not given mercy. She was not given honor. She was not given rest. Her name was Peggy Scott. Every night, when the tools were put away, Peggy lay down with wounds that burned. She lay on straw, her body aching, her skin stinging. She could not sleep. Her body could not heal. When she walked, her steps were slow. When she sat, her scars pulled. Her body carried every cut, every stitches, every cruelty. But she had no choice. She was a slave. Her voice meant nothing. And yet, inside her, she still held something no one could take. Her humility, her soul, and her silent strength. This is only the beginning of her story. The world called Dr. Austin a father of medicine, but Peggy was the mother of survival. She prayed with her body so others could live. She screamed so others could be silent in comfort. She suffered so the world could call a man great. But her greatness was buried. Her name was forgotten. Peggy thought the first time was the worst. She thought no one could bear such pain twice. She thought surely the doctor could stop. But the doctor was not finished. The doctor saw her not as a patient, but as a project. Every cut was a test. Every stitch was an idea. And Peggy was the body he used to practice. He was not done with her. He was only beginning. When they brought Peggy back to the doctor's table, she begged. Her voice shook. Her tears fell. She begged not to be touched again. But her begging was ignored. Slaves had no right to refuse. No voice, no power. They laid her down again. Her body trembled. The tools were brought out again. Her heart raced, and again the knife entered her body. No medicine, no anesthesia. Her scream rose high and sharp. Her fingers clawed at the table. Her back ached with agony. But the doctor did not stop. He looked at her body like a puzzle. He studied her like an object. Her cries were not cries to him. They were noise. Soon it was not one surgery, not two, not three, but many. The count rose. Her body was cut, stitched, torn again and again. She was only 17, but she endured the wounds of 30 surgeries. 30 times she screamed. 30 times she was held down. 30 times her body was open like she was nothing more than flesh to be studied. Imagine the room, the wooden table stained with her blood, the tools glittering in the dim light, the air filled with her cries, the smell of iron, of sweat, of fear. Other enslaved women sometimes stood by, forced to watch, forced to help. Their faces were filled with fear. They knew what might come for them one day. The doctor spoke with calmness, as if he was teaching a lesson. He wrote notes. He drew diagrams. He described Peggy's suffering not as pain, but as progress. But for Peggy, there was no progress. There was only agony. Peggy's body no longer felt like her own. Her stomach bore scars. Her womb carried wounds. Her skin was a map of pain. She tried to eat, but the pain made her weak. She tried to walk, but her legs trembled. She tried to sleep, but the scars pulled and the memories burned into her mind. Every day, she lived with fear. Fear of the next time, fear of the next night, fear of the next scream. The doctor told others that black women did not feel pain the way white women did. That lie gave him power. That lie made his cruelty acceptable. That lie made Peggy's scream invisible. The world believed him. White patients received comforts, anesthesia, and care. Peggy received knives. The difference was cane. The difference was slavery. And so the lie grew louder than her cries. Day after day, Peggy woke with dread. Would today be another surgery? Would today bring another scream? She tried to hide her fear, but her body betrayed her. Her hands shook. Her lips quivered. Her eyes carried the weight of pain no girl her age should know. Some nights she prayed silently. She prayed for strength. She prayed for an end, and the end never came. Peggy was not alone. There was other enslaved women used the same way. Women whose name history also forgot. They too were cut open. They too screamed without mercy. But Peggy's suffering stood out. She endured more than 30 surgeries. Her body became the main ground for this experiment. Her pain was written into his books. Her blood was hidden behind his fame. While Peggy bled, the doctor's name spread. He told other doctors about his discoveries. He shared his techniques. He built his reputation. Hospitals visited him. Students listened to him. The world called him brilliant. But brilliance built on blood is not brilliant at all. Fame built on screams is no fame at all. His honor was stolen from the body of a slave girl. Nobody came to defend Peggy. Nobody came to stop him. Nobody came to say, this girl is human. The enslavers saw her as property. The doctors saw her as a project. The world outside never heard her name. Her pain was locked inside those walls. Her tears fell unseen. Her story was buried. But Peggy, she endured. She screamed, yes. She bled, yes. She suffered, yes. But she survived. Every surgery could have killed her. Every cut could have ended her life. But she lived. She carried the scar. She carried the pain. But she lived. Inside her was a strength that even chains could not break. Even knives could not silence. Peggy Scott became a silent witness of cruelty and a symbol of survival. In the years when Peggy screamed under his knife, Dr. Austin was not silent. He was writing, he was teaching, he was presenting himself as a man of genius. He carried his notes to other doctors. He showed them the new method he had tested. He displayed the tool he has created. He spoke about progress in women's medicine, and the world listened. They clapped. They called him brilliant. They called him brave. What they did not see was the truth. Behind his brilliance stood a girl with scars. Behind his success and progress stood a body that was tortured. Behind his fame stood Peggy Scott, but he never mentioned her name. Dr. Austin's fame came from his work on gynecology, women's medicine. He was solving problems that white women face, but the way he solved them was by experimenting on enslaved women. Peggy was the main body he used. Her wounds became his lessons. Her screams became his notes. Her blood became his textbooks. Every new discovery he shared was written first on her body. Every tool he designed was tested first on her flesh. Every success the world celebrated was stolen from her pain. Here is the cruelest truth. When Dr. Austin tested on white women, he gave them anesthesia. He gave them comfort. He gave them mercy. But when he tested on Peggy, he gave her nothing. No medicine, no anesthesia, no comfort. Why? Because he believed a lie. He believed black women did not feel pain like white women. He told the world that lie, and the world believed him. That lie allowed him to cut Peggy open 30 times. That lie made her screams invisible. That lie erased her humanity. In one room, Dr. Austin is standing tall, dressed in fine clothes. Other doctors sit before him, nodding, writing notes, clapping at his brilliance, his points. He points to drawing. He explains techniques. He smiles in his success. Peggy Scott lies weak, bleeding, trembling, her body broken from yet another surgery. Her scars are fresh. Her spirit is heavy. Her eyes are tired. Years passed. The doctor's name grew larger. Hospitals invited him. Students studied under him. Books carried his discoveries. Statues were built in his honor. The world called him the father of modern gynecology, a hero of medicine, a man who changed history. But nobody built a statue of Peggy. Nobody called her the mother of survival. Nobody wrote her name in the book. Her name was not spoken. Her story was not told. Her pain was hidden behind his fame. When people spoke of Dr. Austin, they used words like pioneer, brilliant, genius. When people remembered his work, they talked about how he saved lives, how he changed medicine, how he made hospitals better for women. But no one of them remembered Peggy. Not one of them said her name. Her suffering was covered. Her voice was silenced. Her truth was buried. And so, history became one-sided. The man rose like a star. The girl sank into darkness. Let me tell you something. While the doctor walked tall, Peggy limped. While the doctor smiled, Peggy winked. While the doctor lectured, Peggy healed slowly from wounds that would never truly close. Her body was full of scars, visible scars on her flesh and invisible scars in her soul. Her womb carried the memory of knives. Her skin carried the map of cruelty. Her heart carried the weight of silence. She had given her body to history. But history refused to give her back her name. The truth is simple. Without Peggy Scott, there would be no Dr. A. Austin. Without Peggy Scott, there would be no foundation for gynecology. Without Peggy Scott, his discoveries would never exist. He was the roots, he was the soil, he was the sacrifice. But the world ignored the roots. They admired the tree, they enjoyed the fruit, and they forgot the soil. The doctor was celebrated as a hero. Peggy was treated as disposable. One man became history's hero. One girl became history's ghost. But what is a hero who built his fame on cruelty? What is a father of medicine who forgets the mother of survival? The world may have given him the title, but the truth belongs to Peggy. Erasure is another kind of pain. It is one thing to suffer, it is another thing to be forgotten. Peggy suffered twice, once in her body, cut open 30 times, and again in her memory, cut out of history. Her name was erased, her name was hidden, her pain was buried. This is the weight of erasure. But let me say it clearly, without Peggy Scott, there would be no father of gynecology. Without Peggy Scott, his discoveries would not exist, and his fame would not shine. He paid the price, he took the glory, and history wrote only his name. The world of Dr. A. Austin and the world of Peggy Scott could not have been more different. He lived in a world of recognition. He received awards, applause, and respect. His name was printed in books. His work was praised in hospitals. His status stood tall in public faces. Peggy lived in a world of silence. He walked with scars, walked with pains. Her name was not written anywhere. Her story was not told to anyone. He became immortal in history. He became invisible to history. For generations, people remembered only him. For generations, students learned his name, but not hers. The tools he created were used, the techniques he practiced were taught, and the hospitals carried his reputation. But behind every tool, every lesson, every practice was Peggy's body. Her body was the foundation. Her pain was the foundation, and her silence was the foundation. This is the legacy of injustice. One name praised, one name erased. Peggy was not alone. There were other enslaved women used by the same doctor. Their names too were forgotten. Their bodies too were scarred. Their pain too was hidden. But Peggy's suffering stood out because she endured all the surgeries. She became the main ground for his experiments. And yet, the world whispered only his name. Time passed. The world changed. Slavery ended. But Peggy's story remained buried. For years, people walked past statues of the doctor without knowing the truth. People studied his discoveries without learning the names of the women he used. People called him a hero, while the real heroes remained in the shadows. But time has a way of uncovering truths. Time has a way of bringing hidden stories to light. Time has a way of speaking the names that history tried to silence. And now, Peggy's name is being spoken again. Today, we know the truth. Today, people are asking questions. How can a man be honored when his fame came from cruelty? How can we call him a father of medicine when the mothers of survival were never honored? How can we build statues for him and leave Peggy forgotten? Statues have been removed. Books are being rewritten. Historians are telling the truth. The world is beginning to remember the women behind the pain. Peggy's story is finally being told. Justice for Peggy is not about money. Justice for Peggy is not about revenge. Justice for Peggy is about remembrance. It is about speaking her name. It is about giving her honor. It is about telling the world the truth that was hidden. Her name deserves to be known. Her voice deserves to be heard. Her story deserves to be told. Because without Peggy Scott, modern gynecology would not exist. Think of Peggy for a moment. A 17-year-old girl, torn apart by childbirth, cut open 30 times without mercy, screaming with no one to listen, crying with no one to comfort her, and yet she lived. She endured. She survived. This is strength. This is courage. This is humanity. Even when the world erased her, she cried the truth in her scars. Even when the world silenced her, her story waited for its time to be told. And now we are telling it. Her name was Peggy Scott. You won't find her in history books. You won't see her on status. You won't hear her name in old classrooms. But her suffering shaped medicine. Her body built discoveries. Her pain gave birth to progress. The doctor was remembered, she was forgotten. But not anymore. Today, her name is spoken. Her story is told, and her truth is uncovered.